Hey everybody, it's Allison Durant and Oakley Durant. So I'm just gonna zoom over to Oakley, my little studio buddy. I look like an elf today. I thought these jeans were super cool when I bought them, but they are definitely different. But it doesn't help that I'm wearing my like really warm woolly striped socks. So anyways, it's all about comfort today. Oakley, come here. Oakley's gonna get his treat ball. Oakley, can you sit? Ready? There you go. There you go. Good boy. My studio, I have been cleaning and organizing, so there's just more space, more space to move around and introduce Oakley because I can just kind of zoom over on the floor. And I just had to fix my phone there. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys. It looks like I'm okay. I wanted to do a video today, and I really wanted to revisit this book, Radiant Rainbows by Jessica Swift. It just felt like it was a day for rainbows. We had a lot more snow come in last night, and although it's really sunny out, I just felt like some radiant rainbows. And do check out Jessica Swift's story, as she kind of, this book was sort of born out of her grief when her husband had passed away. It's a very, very beautiful book, just in color and words and inspiration. So I'm going to do a little flip through. Just makes me really happy looking at this. Sometimes I like to flip through, oh, this really speaks to me. So for those of you that have been following my channel, you know that I paint to quiet my mind, to find quiet and filter out the noise of the world, the busy days, the news. I don't really watch the news. And I'll just read this page. May you find rest, may you find ease. May you find the space you crave and the silence you require to hear the deepest whisperings of your soul. And I think it's really hard to find quiet in our days. We live in a really fast-paced city here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and the huge focus on productivity. And focus is actually something I'm trying to find in my art practice, my art business, and I'm really zeroing in on, I'm really trying to focus a bit more. I get so excited that my ideas are all over the place. And I have a bit of a laugh because these videos are so good for me because they're unedited and I can be random, and you all seem to really accept me and appreciate my randomness, my jumping around topic to topic and sharing my inspiration. And I really love it just because it works so well on video. But recently I've picked up some work where I'll be teaching in person at Kensington Art Supply here in Calgary at the art store. And I'll be teaching for the month of April and for part of May. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, how am I gonna like focus for a class when I'm so used to, you know, just this kind of one-sided where I'm talking and you all are listening when you have time, and we both are kind of doing what works for us. Whereas it'll be really interesting having a class of people and having to have an outline and an agenda. And I'm really going to try and keep it loose, sort of like my videos, but I have been planning an awful lot as well. And I think you guys can help me. Maybe I'll do a video and I'll show you my outline. I want to show some art journals like when I first started. I want to show you those sketchbooks where I first started finding my art poetry watercolor style, and looking at how far I've come, and really just inspire, you know, if there's new people in my class, trying to, you know, just really emphasize the point that when we do art for ourselves, there's so many health benefits. I'm really tired today. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. We had the spring ahead time change here, so I'm a little thrown off every time we have that 1 hour jumping ahead here on standard mountain time. And I just had insomnia last night from about 3 in the morning. I'm just feeling tired, and sometimes my best videos, my best artwork comes from being tired. You're getting a really good peek at these stunning rainbows in this book. And Jessica Swift offers, I believe, like an online community type membership. I saw something advertised on that not that long ago. So if you're looking for an online community, I think she has sort of a paid monthly membership sort of support, kind of teaching her style and pulling in some of the things that really helped her through her loss and healing. I love how she has the sparkles in between the opaque colors. I feel like just looking at this, it ties in with, this is sort of a really loose watercolor sketch that I had done about a month ago, just when I was trying to relax. I had got these new Kuretake brush pens, these watercolor brush pens. They're called Zig Clean Color Real Brush, and they were an investment, but I had to have the whole set. I absolutely love them. I'm still learning how to use them in my style, in my work, but this was just playing around with blending, and all I had was a whole bunch of different colors of these real brush pens, and then I would use my Japanese water brush where you kind of squeeze the water out as you go. So this brush, if you twist it counterclockwise, you fill it with water. It's great for traveling, and great if you don't want to have that like water reservoir. It's just sort of a fun way. If you're sitting and watching TV, maybe you're, bedridden, if you happen to be sick, or in the hospital recovering from something, this is just really great to have with a little watercolor set, as it can help pass time if you enjoy watercolor. I hope to do a little bit of painting with those pens. So many rainbows. Just looking at color and all of these beautiful pages makes me really happy. So there's a photo of Jessica, and you can find her on her website, jessicaswift.com, and I will also link that for you. And it is a perfect gift for anyone. It says, going through a hard time, this book is the hand that lifts you up and nudges you to keep going through wishes, prayers, and affirmations. So, and I want to share it with you before we do any watercolor, what I've been up to. I'm going to zoom you out. And I've been working on this fox for my mom, inspired by Tamara Laporte, who goes by Willowing. So I'll make sure I link her account as well. She's a wonderful art teacher, and I've just taken, I think, 2 of her classes so far. This was one of them, although this class that she taught was very much about painting a little fox, but with watercolor. So I kind of pulled in my acrylic inks, this reticulated style that I love. And so if you take her class, you just want to make sure going in, this was her image. I used her drawing. She teaches how to draw this sweet little fox, as well as provides some great fox references that are royalty free. But this was, so basically her teaching, but in my style. So I didn't use watercolor at all. I just started putting these sweet little flowers on here. So again, if you've been following me, you know that I've been working on this little painting that I had mounted to wood panel. So this is cradled wood panel, and I've been adding polka dots to the side. As well, I like to do flowers on the edges here. And so I just added the flowers today in acrylic, and I'm gonna add some stems and some details. But yeah, this is for my mom for Mother's Day coming up. I was gonna give it to her earlier in the year, and I just got tied up with other things, and good art takes time. So, you know, it did take quite a while. I painted this beautiful fox on watercolor paper, and then I mounted it, also known as gluing, to the cradled wood panel. So I'll just show you the back of it. It has really nice wide edges. How's that for a close-up? So yeah, really, really great wide edges here. I think they're 2 inches, and I just really enjoy painting on these boards. So I've signed this. I tend to sign before I'm finished, but I'm getting really close. I'm gonna add some details with my Neocolor Caran d'Ache crayons, some stems, maybe a few different colors and highlights. But I feel like my fox is finished, the moon's finished, and I just wanted to share this kind of finished product. And also, this reticulated pattern that I was able to achieve in the background is that pattern that we were sort of exploring with our acrylic inks in a few earlier videos. So that's my what I call reticulated style, but it's also considered a dendritic pattern, and it's quite beautiful. I didn't want to cover up this part of the fox with the opaque white for the fur. I tried to leave as much as those beautiful reticulated underlayers as possible, but it was tricky because I did want it to look somewhat like a little red fox with the beautiful white fur. And the title for this came really easily. So the title is A Little Fox with a Big Tail. And the reason that I had titled this title, Little Fox with the Big Tail, sorry, I had a call coming in, so I was a bit distracted just checking out the number. I found that the tail looked really big. So when I was trying to pull this together with the white fur, I thought, oh my gosh, it's just all about this white tail. But then I was thinking of the play on words about how my little rescue dog Oakley was featured. He, in his words, had written an article in What Women Create magazine, and it is on, what do you call? So Oakley and I were published, and where is it? It is called Pet Tales. And so I think of, while I was working on the photo shoot and working with the editor and my co-writer, Vivi Spooner, who did a wonderful job with the writing, I was also working on this little fox painting for my mom. And so when I saw that this was a big tail, I felt, well, this is a little dog with also a big tail, and obviously a big tail, play on words, T-A-L-E, a big story. And so it was just weird timing, but I love puns, and I just thought that would be a great title. You can kind of see in the photo shoot, I had put my art poetry watercolor cards, my artist card deck down there. I really wanted to try and sneak in some of my art in our photo shoot, and Oakley just loves to pose. So there he is with his little bandana, and just super cute. So this is where I'm working right now at this table, and yeah, and Oakley's just in the background there. Hi, Oakley. So I'm thinking what I can do. There's a few things I was inspired by today. My mom is a wonderful seamstress. She's very, very creative, just a beautiful human. And she makes these scarves, and they are so stunning. She makes them mostly just for me, for family, really close friends, just because she enjoys the process of making them. She enjoys finding these beautiful fabrics, whether they're, maybe fabric that would have otherwise been tossed to a thrift store. She repurposes fabric. This one I think she had bought new, and it's just so gorgeous. So today, when I had met my parents and some friends for brunch, I had worn this scarf. It actually went really well with these pants, not the wild socks. I didn't wear those today. But I'm trying to wear some of the clothes in my closet that I just normally don't choose. And then if I don't wear them, I'm going to donate them. Anyways, this scarf just made me think I'd love to use my watercolor pens and pull some of these colors, almost like a swatch, or some loose abstract florals, because the colors are just so beautiful. It's a really neat palette, very tropical, you know, Hawaiian. And so yeah, I'm just gonna put this kind of nearby. And I thought I would pull a card from my art poetry deck. I might pull a couple cards today. And this one, it matches that scarf, which is so interesting. It's like the colors, that turquoise and that yellow ochre, really, really match the scarf. Remember your why. So every time I create or I paint, I have to remind myself, this is for me. I'm painting solely for myself, not for any other purpose. So thinking about maybe, why do you create? Why do you paint? Do you also paint to find quiet? Do you paint because it's, you know, maybe part of your business, commission work? Do you create, you know, because you'd gone to art school maybe? Is it part of your job? And this one says respect and create history. And this, again, is another example of that reticulated or dendritic pattern. And because this was reproduced into print on this little card, you wouldn't have the same quality as you would have in like a giclée or, you know, a fine art print, of course. But you can see that pattern does come through really nice. That sort of implied texture, that smooth texture. And that was the style when I had done these reticulated backgrounds. This one was a little bit different. It had a little bit of the reticulation, and I had started to do drips with the paint and then kind of pull the work together. But this one, I really was into the style of having these kind of loose botanicals going in different directions over top of what almost looks like a feather. And I have a bit of a drip there. And then this next card, which looks really nice down here. I just love color. It really looks beautiful by these colors. And I think I had done this when I first started YouTube. I had started this little painting on a small watercolor paper, and I showed how I used gelatos to kind of add that lime green, fill in some of those gaps, and finish this little art poetry painting. And you can see I had the drip there again, so there is a bit of a theme in some of my work. And this says, allow for abundance and be open to receive. And so what I'm going to do is just play with maybe using this as inspiration. I've been reading a couple books, and I think the one that I had read this sentence in was called Your Brain on Art. And I have to double check. I think it's around page 20, but it was talking about how just for 20 minutes a day of, you know, doing something creative, something relaxing, drawing, doodling, painting, just 20 minutes a day, and how it can significantly reduce your anxiety. And I think there was a study they had done on mice, and it was something about forced play versus just allowing the mice to kind of play more naturally, more intuitively. I'm definitely not explaining the experiment very well, but I just found it really interesting that I think when we put less pressure on ourselves to play, so for instance, I don't do commissions because that would just, I would find that way too stressful, and I think it would be harmful to my health, if you want me to be honest. I think I would have high blood pressure, I would be just mentally not feeling as good, and that's because the reason I create is to find that calm and quiet and, you know, get my mental health in a place where I'm really, I'm just, you know, it's self-care. Okay, we're gonna go to, before I go off on another little tangent, just trying to decide, there's so much beauty in here. I am going to grab some of the pinks of these Clean Color Real Brush pens, and I'll just show you a little demo quickly. Maybe of just some different colors. And there's so many ways that you can use these, but I love just really gently getting some color down and then blending that color out. There's some great YouTube videos on this, by the way. Just, you could see how I just went right over top with this neon pink. And if I keep going, it blends back out. And I'm gonna pick maybe a darker color, and I'm gonna just go right over top of this area here. And then I'm gonna pick a lighter color and just blend it out. And you can see the first color, the darker color, is kind of coming out of the brush. But just this motion, whoops. Oh, you're probably gonna wanna know the colors too. So these, again, are Kuretake. This is number 3. These are made in Japan. Just listening out for Oakley. Fluorescent pink, FL pink. Just making sure he doesn't have to go out. And I just find it so relaxing, gently brushing these on the paper and then just watching them blend. This is number 69 and it's called Blush. So you can see what it looks like before I go into the pink. And it really blended out that pink nicely. I can bring the pink back in without wrecking the brush. And then say this is number 20, which is red. It's a really vibrant, kind of an orangish red. And then I'm gonna brush in number 29, geranium red. And I like to kind of go over top, just see what, I don't like to blend the whole thing. I like to kind of leave an area to see the other colors from before. And this is an area that I would now, let's just do like, add in some blue just for interest and getting that beautiful purple that comes from mixing red and blue. Isn't that amazing? And then as the red comes off the brush, it just returns to this blue. So this is number 32, Persian blue. And say, I can take my brush pen and just play. Just move some of that color around and blend it in. And then if I was to do a little bit of blending up here, you can see I'm squeezing the water out. I'm moving the pigment around. And I can blend this in together here, watch it kind of move and flow. I'm really liking that neutral grayish purple here. And there's so much pigment, you know, but this is such a relaxing activity. Again, I'm going to squeeze out that blue. And you can use a sponge and kind of clean off these brushes before going over another color. I'm going to see if this will reactivate this orange, and it will. It's turning a bit of a green. And so I'm just gonna let this page dry. Oh, and I'm working in Canson 140-pound mixed media paper. So Canson XL, 11 by 15, 140 pound or 300 gram paper is what I'm using. And this is cold pressed heavyweight paper, fine grain. And I'm just gonna, let's just drip this down because it looks like it wants to drip. You can see I was cleaning off my brush on this side because I don't like wasting paint. And that's kind of neat, those drips that are going through here. I almost see this as, this would be a really interesting art poetry background. So just a watercolor background and waiting for it to dry and then adding mark making over top. And then I slid this under here just to show you, this brand is by Michael's Artist Loft. And it's just another affordable, oh, this is acrylic. I have the wrong one, but they have a good equivalent of 140-pound watercolor paper. So yeah, this one's actually acrylic, so I'll just slip this back. And let's just see if we can get inspired by some of these colors. So I'm gonna start with sort of a bright pink, just really inspired by the middle part of these flowers. And I'm just kind of putting some pigment around my page. So if you have watercolors, you can do this as well. So that is number 25. So, you know, you can kind of follow along if you have a variety of different color watercolors, but it would certainly be tough. Now this one's very similar, so I was hoping to get a bit of a different hue, different color shade of the pink, just for showing you the blending, but that's okay. What was I saying? I'm getting distracted. The watercolor, you can, if you don't have the pens, it is a lot harder to do this type of exercise, although you can still do it with, you know, a traditional water paintbrush and paints, and just kind of play. Think of it as a mindfulness exercise. I'm just going to kind of almost make an abstract middle of a flower, and I'm brushing on just in different directions. This is number 204. I'm trying to vary the sizes. And really, I'm just playing with these supplies. This is number 28, pale pink. And I'm gonna go right into the middle and just kind of brush out as though I was making a bit of a petal. And maybe just pulling down this way, just brushing on some pigment. And then over here, same thing. And I'm not really thinking too much. I'm just sort of letting my paintbrush, this is very much like a little pointed paintbrush, just letting it do its thing. So that was, again, number 28. And then I think I'm gonna flip over to looking for one that might be a bit darker to go in the middle. So, whoops, I don't know these colors. This is number 208. Let's just put this in here for fun. right in the middle there, a little bit here, and maybe I will leave this one out of that third flower. This is number 208. And then I'm just going to take my watercolor pen, and I'm not trying to make these flowers at all. I'm just sort of getting inspired by the pinks and maybe the gray, the neutrals around them. I don't know if I'll add gray, but I'm just going to add a little bit of water here to these flowers. Just blend them out a little bit. And I'm almost kind of squinting my eyes thinking, what would an abstract flower look like? Squeezing out the water as I'm going around. And seeing there's a lot of water here, I might just mix it up and use my, just trying to decide. I might just use my water-soluble pencil crayon, and this is by Caran d'Ache, Swiss company, Supercolor Too Soft, number 3888. And because it's wet here, I'm just gonna go right in and kind of just draw a line down, and I'm just gonna give these kind of like abstract stems. And then deciding what other colors do I kind of want to pull around this image. And these turquoises are really beautiful, the greens and the yellows. So let's just see. I'm going to try a whole bunch of different greens. And I'll start with maybe the darker one. This is number 43. And I'm just, instead of these kind of organic, fluffy looking abstract petals, I'm just gonna aim for like using the brush pen to create kind of long, almost stems. And I'm not really thinking too hard about what I'm doing. And this is number 46, so it's a very similar green. I'm just gonna kind of color right in. Just adding a bit of color. And it's okay if this is still wet and touches that pink. It just makes it more interesting. And just for fun, I'm gonna use this neon number 4. Just a little bit. I'm just gonna blend out that edge. Maybe add a little bit of the green right over top of this one. Bit up here, maybe some down here. And then I'm gonna use this 31, this beautiful, it's a cobalt blue. And I have an irritation, I get a skin allergy from cobalt. So I'm always careful when I'm using cobalt. That was number 31, and then I'm gonna take the lightest color of green, 049, and just maybe blend. And I'm not really thinking too much about the composition, I'm just having fun with the colors that are inspiring me from my mom's scarf. You can do maybe some smaller stems in here. We'll go back to number 41 and maybe just doing that. I'm gonna turn my page, maybe just adding a little bit more just adding some green around the page. And then I'm gonna go back to the lightest color. It almost looks like a leaf shape. And this process is kind of addicting, I find. I'm just gonna add a little bit of that light color just in the background here. And then I'm gonna maybe do a purple flower. This time I'm gonna start with like maybe a bit of a light yellow in some different areas of my page, and then that is number 55. I'm gonna switch to number 50, add a bit of this beautiful light yellow, maybe add a little bit of that in here. Then I'm gonna go to number 57, which is quite dark, just for variety. And then I'm gonna use this peachy color, number 71, and just gonna blend, see what happens. Not blend it all out, but just blend some of that middle that I'm thinking of as maybe like an abstract flower. And then I'm gonna take some purple and just kind of add some color, almost like adding petals, maybe in a slightly different shape than I was doing before. Maybe adding, I have a bit of a splash mark over here, so I could add definitely some flower marks here. Oops, there goes the scarf. And I'm gonna use number 81. That's really pretty, how blending it in with that yellow middle. So I'm just playing around, adding some different shades of purple. And I'm going from light to dark, because that is what I was doing the night that I had just sort of decided to sit down and rediscover a way to use these pens. This is number 811. And let's just go with another, maybe a dark. And not a lot, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna use just gonna flip this back over. I suppose we could work on it. I'm not really thinking about composition. I'm thinking about, I hope I didn't forget any of the names because I get so excited about what I'm doing. And I was trying to create flowers that were a different size than these ones here in the middle, but I'm actually gonna make this a much bigger one. And I'm just squeezing my water pen and letting the blending kind of happen. turn this again. I'm using a lot of water here. Really squeezing, getting fingers a workout. I'm gonna go right into that green stem. And it's sort of bugging me because I do like certain compositions that these are so close together and very similar sizes. But it's just, again, about relaxation and play. I'm just gonna make this one really big. And I kind of like that composition. I feel like I'm gonna add in maybe a bit. You can see it looks nothing like the flowers on the scarf, but it was just taking a tiny bit of inspiration from the scarf and seeing what I could do. I'm gonna go back to that cobalt blue number 31, and I'm just feeling like I want to add in a little bit just to fill in some of these areas. And what I'm gonna do is blend it out with, I could try, be interesting to see what number 55, this yellow, what color we would get. I really like that. It's quite pretty. You can see I'm touching the flower there, but that's okay. It just makes the composition more interesting. And I'm gonna go back to maybe a darker green. Number 46. Where do I wanna go? And I'm just feeling like a bit of yellow in here. Maybe just some little yellow marks. And that was, again, number 50. And I'm gonna add in a slightly darker yellow, number 57. And now I'm just gonna have fun with blending with my, where is it, my watercolor pen. And you know what, I might just use my Princeton, my watercolor brush at this point, because I kind of want to get a little bit more coverage of blending. I'm just going to let that yellow kind of bleed in with the background, and definitely want to get this blue blended out. Maybe pick up some of the purple in that stem. And getting that blue kind of in and around. And then blending up here. And I'm just gonna turn it around so it's easier for me to see. I'm purposely letting that bleed out, letting it blend into the background just for interest. Pick up some of that yellow and move that yellow over here. And I feel like we're just a bit too saturated in here. I almost like it a bit looser, maybe just not as intentional. So let's just bring that out and around. I'm just putting a ton of water on my page and letting the drips happen. And you know, this would be really neat once it's dry to do black line work, white line work with acrylic paint pens, with, you know, those black permanent micron, those ink pens. So many possibilities. I almost feel like because I have my crayons here, my pencil crayons, I kind of want to add in orange. Maybe just doing a little bit of orange just to get a bit of texture kind of down here. And maybe I'll do a little bit kind of up here. My page is buckling a bit, but that's okay. Do I want to add any other orange? Maybe, whoops, a little bit up here. And I kind of want to add in dark, like black line work, or let me just see. Oh, this was, what color you asked? This is Super Color Too Soft by Caran number 3888, orange. Oh, sorry, number, what is that? 30, I think it is. It's hard with the lighting. So I am going to be bold. This is a black. And I'm just gonna, kind of looking at this composition, decide I almost want to bring that stem out a little bit, and maybe this one kind of coming down. That one could have like a loose stem in the back. Maybe this one. Don't think I want to put a stem there. And I almost want to do just a really loose mark there, maybe here, and kind of feel like just darker there. And maybe just blending some of that out. Hoping to get a little bit more of the dark kind of coming through. And you could loosely, if you wanted, just, you know, say you are enjoying kind of plain, you could grab one of your water-soluble pencil crayons. I'm just gonna move some of my colors here for a second. Sort of reposition my pencil crayons here and decide what colors. I almost want to use this kind of like English red. It is number 63. I kind of want to use this just to loosely outline the pink flowers. I really like this one as is, but I'm going to, just going to turn it. And just kind of as I was turning around the pencil crayon, and then just deciding, do I like it? I do like it. I might add just a little bit more, the really kind of loose hand in here. Just some loose line work, but I don't know if I would do, maybe I would do this one just slightly up and out with just a very loose hand. I'm not going to do that middle one because I'm very happy with it. I feel like I could use like little black marks around the area. Maybe with my, this is actually indigo blue, number 157. It is sort of a big Faber-Castell water-soluble pencil crayon. And I might just want to add some little marks, kind of in different areas. Just because my paper is still quite wet, I'm just gonna, here, not too many. And then just deciding if I like it or not. I almost want to make them a bit bigger. Just maybe not so precise. And this whole area here, it would be nice if it was darker, I think. I'm just trying to decide what I want to do. I might actually want to, I don't know if I'd want to do just more navy in here. And down here, I think I'm going to commit, and I'm kind of holding this big pencil crayon. I'm getting some texture, which I like. I'm trying to be, I suppose, you know, just not overthinking. If my mind's like, oh, you know, what would happen if I followed my gut and added this dark on the side? I actually like it better. There's going to be people watching that like, oh my gosh, that's intense. But you just, as the artist, you have to just go with what feels right and take a risk. And if you don't like it, you can always paint over it. And now I'm just blending it out with my water paintbrush from Princeton, my round brush. And the purpose was for finding quiet and color joy. You can even grab a paper towel and dab some up to get the texture from the paper towel, but I kind of like it the way it is. Try and keep my table clean. I forgot to put something underneath. And I think I'll probably leave that there with you all. I hope you found some inspiration in this really random video today with these Kuretake Zig clean brush pens, which I'm not sponsored by any company. I'll just say that now. And I just try to use products I really enjoy and use what's sort of in your budget. Hopefully this just inspired you to maybe go to your closet, find, you know, a scarf, a blouse, maybe some wild socks, you know, remember why you purchased that clothing article in the first place. If you loved the pattern, the colors, what's that favorite mug that you might pull out of the kitchen? And is there a pattern? Is there something you enjoy about it, whether it's the colors, the line work? You know, why are you gravitating towards certain visual elements that are in your lifestyle? And just seeing if you can kind of pull that into your creative practice. So thanks so much for staying with me. We'll see you soon.